Hello, Anthony Dallmann-Jones, Dr. DJ. That's what my students call me, and you can too. Hey, I'm a grub today. I've been working manual labor, but I wanted to get this story out. In our program at Marian University, it's called the At-Risk and Alternative Ed program. We don't attract just classroom teachers to be more effective with at-risk kids. We attract youth workers, social workers, counselors, jail educators, prison educators. Anyone who's teaching kids to succeed in school and in life, we call an educator, which brings to my mind Joe the janitor. When I was in junior high school, which is not a good time, and again, this is from a kid's perspective. I have a good memory on that. The teacher seemed, one was a former drill sergeant in the Marines. He ate what he called cannibal sandwiches for lunch, which was saltines, as he called them, with raw hamburger and salt and pepper on top. He humiliated kids in PE, and not a nice man. Another teacher was a football coach's wife. She was pulling her hair out because the record at the high school was 0 and 9 every year, and his job was on the line. The guidance counselor came to school with cow poop on his shoes as he would do a session with us in school. I don't remember what he talked about, but I do remember the smell. So I didn't have a really good impression of teachers in junior high, but I do remember Joe the janitor. Joe the janitor was a gentleman. He had one arm. He had lost it in World War II in Italy. And I know it sounds terrible, but some of us guys would ask him, like, well, you can understand the 8th grade mentality. Well, where is it? Do you know where it is? It buried? And because it just didn't seem at that time, it's to lose a whole arm, just seemed foreign. But he was always very gentle in answering, even made jokes about it. And I still remember him with that gray uniform, and he'd have the sleeve tucked in, and where the arm was missing, and he'd be pushing with the broom down the hallway with, and then he'd hold the dustpan with one foot and sweep the stuff into it. But what was really sweet was that when nobody was around, it was kind of conspiracy, he'd go. And 2 or 3 of us guys who really gravitated to Joe he'd take us into the boiler room, and he had a Coke machine in there, his own Coke machine, and he'd pull out some nickels and put it in there, and this is when Cokes were like little short bottles, and he'd get us all a Coke and turn over some 5-gallon tubs, and we'd sit on those, and then he would answer questions that we had, mostly about girls and life and the war. We wanted to talk about the war a lot. And he was just a really sweet guy. And I learned so much about life from him. And I maintain today that in our program, it's not just about succeeding in school. It's about succeeding in life. And I'm sorry to end this story on a sad note, but one day I was sitting in my classroom and looking out the window, which I did a lot. There was snow on the ground. And I don't know how to describe this. I was sitting like here, and over here was another wing, and the boiler room was right here. Okay. And I was looking out the window, and suddenly the snow lifted up off the ground, and gravel. It was like slow motion. It lifted off. And then it hit the glass and crashed and broke the glass in the classroom. And then there was this huge boom, okay? And the boiler had exploded. Joe and another man were killed. We've been working on the boiler. Were blown out through a steel door, and there was a stairwell that came up, and there was a concrete well there, and they were blown into that and killed. It was one of the saddest days of my life. And I hadn't been exposed to a lot of death of people I knew, at the time. And it was such a loss because he was such a gentle man and so fun-filled and good with us kids, treated us almost as equals, not as little inferior beings like some of the teachers did. And I carry that today, and I believe people should never die in vain, especially people like Joe and like Don Cheney I mentioned in the last video. And one way of making sure that happens is to keep reminding people that not all teaching, educating is done with textbooks and in the classroom sitting at a desk. That often it's just about being a human being with another person and being open with them and sharing your heart. So, Joe the janitor, never knew his last name. Still remember the J-O-E on the little embroidered tag on his gray uniform. Sweet guy.